Welcome back. We are just beginning this conversation that no matter what we do, we cannot avoid it. It's about the air that we breathe. It's about the food that we eat. It's about our basic needs. But there's a lot that's happening to our environment that is affecting everything you do, whether you're at home, whether you're in this part of the world, or wherever you are. This topic cannot be just pushed on the side. And tonight's guests are here to talk about climate change. They will walk us through what we assume we know, what we know, and also what we don't know or we will come to know. Got it? All right. Stella, John, karibuni sana to our show. Please greet our guests and tell us who you are and what you do. We can start with the lady.
Hello, I'm Stella Wanjiru, a climate activist by passion, an electrical engineer by profession. Yes, I'm just a simple person who is passionate about these things, the things that affect all of us on a day-to-day basis. Yes.
Wonderful. It's lovely to see that we have this conversation going on, and I just want to say thank you for coming to the nest tonight.
You're welcome.
Yes, and to the gentleman.
Yes, my name is John Henry Otieno Ogonda.
Yes.
The last two is not famous to many.
Yes.
Yes, so I'm an environment educator and an agriculturalist and someone who reminds us our responsibility in whatever space we are. Currently, I am associated with an organization called African Nazarene University. I've been there for the last 14 years, seeing how the young ones come from high school till they graduate, even if you're doing business, but you can still do something about environment. Actually, that is my work, to make sure that whatever they learn in class, they can be able to implement. Yes, I also run an organization called Green Culture Movement, where our goal is to make sure that we change our community behavior, our perception towards given things. It starts with the actions that we do. So repeated actions become a behavior.
Yes.
So with that behavior that you have, you again tell that this community has a given cultural practice that ends to their values. So the small actions we do contributes to our cultural practices. And for this, I'm focusing on the green culture.
Yes.
Green being peace, green being harmony, and green being the green we are used to. So with that, we'll be at peace with the earth and with each other. Because conflicts are because of natural resource and resources that are of value and that are limited. And some of us are lazy to add value to these resources. Hence that continuous resource conflict. So my work is to make sure that I enlighten more people about the same.
Wonderful. I love that, and I've picked quite a number of things that we will go through.
Yes.
Personally, I'm such a fan of young people and tuning them to become productive and become producers over being consumers in the future. And I love how you balance the education bit and showing them you can still do other things. And we're going to get into that a bit later. Stella, you're an engineer. Now you're an environmental activist, if I may use those words, or a passionate person or when it comes to the environment. But with every great story, there's a background. Where did you start? Where were you born? How did you find yourself now where you are today?
Thank you for that question, but I'm proud to say I'm from Nyeri. I was born in Nyeri. So the story behind me deciding to be an engineer is connected with me relating with the passions. So when I grew up, I'm not so old, I'm really young. I'm not so old. So when I was growing up, we had no electricity unlike now people are trying to bring the electricity in the area. So our area had one man who was quite rich, had money, and had a solar. We used to use those small phones.
Yes.
And then you would run and go to that to charge your phone. And then it's just one in the area.
Yes.
Then you'll go and be told, you'll come for your phone tomorrow because now it's not yours.
Yes.
Remember, the phone is maybe your grandmother's.
Yes.
You'll be told, come tomorrow because there are a lot of phones today. We'll charge yours tomorrow. Just come for it after school. So that was one thing that challenged me. So I love electronics. I love being an electrical engineer, being a lady as a profession.
Yes.
It's a plus for me and empowerment to other ladies too. So in matters climate, it's a wide area. So my passions and professions relate. So I decided I will dwell on the renewable energy side too, because renewable energy comes with a lot of engineering, a lot of solar, and showing people the possibilities that the climate holds to make things better. The possibilities of me being in the space, being an engineer, and what impacts I can cause to especially the areas that are normally seen like the areas that are most affected by climate change. But yet it's just that they're not in a position to explore the other things the area holds. Because if today we are talking about my shoe makes me tired, we will be saying, and it's beautiful, you know. There has to be something positive and something negative about it. So people were more into the negative side. It doesn't rain, it doesn't do this, but what can you get from that side that seems so bad? What is there to harness from that side? So coming to look, there are a lot of things that can be harnessed. That is when my passions and professions align.
That is so incredible. I can see the whole inspiration, and hence one of the things I love asking my guests is, well, where is this story coming from? And I see such a beautiful story of a young lady who sees a need and goes ahead to do something about it. FYI, my dad is an electrical engineer, so
very nice.
So it's very close to my heart, and it's good to see also more women coming up into the professions that were, you know, meant for men.
True.
So that's incredible. John, what about you? Who is this? Walk us through, you know, your first memories up to where you are today.
I remember key steps. It was coincident.
Yes.
So I'm not as young as she is. I'll declare my age. I can, but for another day. So in primary school, I get to class 4. Then President Moi says agriculture is optional. So it is not examinable.
Yes.
So there's no that opportunity to explore. So it was optional. You do art and all that, but not much emphasis. So getting to high school, the stream I got to, we were to choose between some elective subjects in Form 3.
Yes.
You either choose business, computer, or agriculture, I think so, and music. So the stream, by my school, they were not choosing, they were not letting us to choose. So if you are in Form 2 blue, by default you're doing this subject. So I got to Form 3, and the stream I was put in was doing business.
Yes.
Computer was an emerging thing, and at home I wanted to do something related to computer. So here I'm stuck with business.
Yes.
And the teacher then called Mr. Suchieng, I think so, decided to form an agriculture club so that we can reuse the wastewater that is coming from the kitchen. Yes, because it was just left to go into waste. So how could we use that water to farm food for the same school? So that's how I got into agriculture. And in primary, I was a prefect up to class 3. The rest is history. So in high school, I was also not a prefect. So here comes an opportunity that you're supposed to make sure this farm is worked on. And I was made a tools man, taking care of djembe and everything. So that is where the passion came in. And I realized that we have a lot of resources within us, and we were now able to feed the high school. I learned at Mbita High School, somewhere close to Rusinga Island somewhere.
Wow.
So from there, when I went home, we cross a river before I get home from the road. So every time I close school, the river water quantity is a little bit lower. So one day I asked my mom, why is it happening this way? Then she tells me it's because the people uphill have cut trees. So when it rains, that's when you'll see the water. When it doesn't, then the water will keep on. Yes. So I realized that I can make a difference by educating more people about the little things that we do that affects us. Yes, so I decided to continue the passion. I was still doing business, but still the agriculture guy. So I finished high school and got to university. When I came to the university, it was my third time to come to Nairobi. Yeah, the second time was in class 7 when I was coming for a wedding. So here you are brought a brochure. And you are supposed to choose courses. So the agriculture in me made me choose a course called Dryland Natural Resource Management. I don't like town because of the challenges. So I decided to pursue Bachelor of Science in Dryland Natural Resource Management at African Nazarene University in 2009 to 2013. So my passion went on. And that is how, through the same passion, I got employed, just through insisting that some things have to be done in a given way. So that's my story. I also realized that in a university setup, you get students from Turkana, from Maseno, from Coast. Now, when you have them together, how can you make them realize that they can change their own communities? So we have associations where you teach them informally, not through the normal classroom, so that whatever they do in Nairobi, they can, when they are on long holiday, they can go and relate. I can help my mother identify a plant through an app that she was not exposed to. So when we do this informal setups, it makes us own the environment. So that's my history.
Incredible.
Yes.
Incredible. You just took me back also to, memory lane. And personally, the school I went to, we had an option and actually chose agriculture.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I harvested a kg of beans.
Oh, as a product.
As our, practical and, flying colors in KCSE. However, looking back, it's sad because I never really got to, now is when I'm appreciating I did that, and I love the fact that education is now becoming so amazing. Like before we went on air, we were talking about really, really raising kids to become producers as opposed to wanting to be attached somewhere. Hence, I really loved what you said when you said beyond the classroom, we also teach and also with the communities so that they can take that knowledge back home. And Kenya is a very rich country, so is the whole of Africa, and we still have the solutions within ourselves. Incredible. So this is good. I love it.
Thank you.
Stella, for you, maybe you can just explain to people in your words, doesn't have to be what's written in the dictionary. Could you capture for us in your words, and I'll ask Henry John the same thing, about climate change or environmental issues in terms of definition. What is it? What are we looking at?
Yeah. So as John said, he's an educator. I am pretty young, so I know that there is a really big gap between the people who know what is happening and what isn't. And people think they know and they don't. know. And at some point, I also thought I know until I came to the field and noticed there are things I don't know, and I have to learn from the people who are there before, and I have to continue learning. So climate change, in very simple terms, are the long-term shifts we have been noticing in our country, in weather patterns, in temperatures. That is basically climate change. In very pure language, just what you have seen happen, what is happening right now, what people are going through in terms of drought, in terms of floods, areas that have never experienced some things start experiencing them, like Limuru last week. experienced. Like the houses were going down, it hasn't happened. Last year, a lake dried up. So it's those changes. That is what we're calling climate change. Yes.
And honestly observing, indeed, there's a huge shift.
A very big one.
You know, extremes of everything. And definitely it's not the way it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And obviously in another 10, 20 years, it will be a very different story altogether.
That extreme is the climate change. Yes.
Yeah, like raining in January.
Yes.
Why is it raining in January? We're used to the January being hot and dry.
Yes,
I think it's kind to us. Now there's a bit of rain, so utachomeka sana na January naenda kuisha. So yeah. What about you? Again, in your own words, what are we looking at? What is this thing?
So the Earth or the world, the Earth is made of several spheres.
Yes.
We have the atmosphere, then we have the lithosphere, that is the solid part. The atmosphere is
the air.
The air, let me call it the air. Then we have the living part, that is the biosphere. Then we have the water bit, that is the hydrosphere. So in the atmosphere, which is the mass of gases, we have different spheres, stages. So remember in high school where you were told the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. They did not tell you the full truth.
Oh, please educate us.
So the truth is, the higher you go, the cooler it becomes till a given point in the atmosphere, after which it remains constant and then the temperature starts rising. Okay, so I think because of the level of understanding in high school, they left it there. So within the lower part of the atmosphere, we do have different gases. And with the rotation of the Earth and also the sun being the source of energy, a lot of changes happen.
Very true.
So with this mass of gases and forces acting on the Earth, we end up having elements of weather. That is rain, wind, clouds and such. So this weather, because the Earth is rotating, we have seasons. You know that in December, from October to this time, it will be sunny.
It will
be this. It will be this time. This time. So these seasons, they have been consistent. Climate change has been there from the beginning. Okay. What we are experiencing is an extreme that is facilitated by human beings. But climate change has been there naturally caused. So we realize that when the Earth rotates with the seasons, there are different things that facilitate that. There are things that slows down the Earth's rotation. There's a dam that was constructed in China that was realized that it has slowed down actually. Yes, go and Google. It has slowed down the speed of. We have human activities that have changed the way. Okay, for example, when you talk about the hydrosphere, we have the hydraulic cycle. How the rain gets from, how water gets from the ocean to form the cloud and then comes down. So all that energy is ability to do work. So with the energy from the sun, it enables that to happen. Now for that process to happen, for the water to move, from the water vapor to move from low to high, because hot water is less denser.
Very true.
It also, remember the rotation? There's also wind. So you'll get that cloud is formed, but it is forced to move to a given area. That's why you may be having cloud here at 2 p.m., but at 4 p.m. it is somewhere.
And it's raining completely.
Yes. So those they happen in the lower part of the atmosphere. So with time, you realize that there are some factors that have led to some changes. There's a part from the lower part to the next part of the atmosphere called ozone. Ozone is 3 molecules of oxygen, which is very unstable. So, for example, if she is an undecided person, any friend who comes with any goodies can sway her.
It's true.
So that's how unstable ozone is. So ozone heals itself. So what the work of ozone is to protect us from the energy that may be harmful to us down here. Okay? So because the ozone layer is very unstable, there are some substances, some friends from Earth, some things that when released, it reacts very fast.
I see.
And these are the ones called greenhouse gases.
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to be as simple
This
as
is
possible.
incredible. I
So
get it. Yeah.
these greenhouse gases include things like methane. They include things like chlorine.
Yes.
Yes. So these sometimes are released naturally through volcanic activities and this other.
Yes.
But we've realized with the human population adding up, we are facilitating the human generating greenhouse gases.
Yeah.
So as they go up the ozone layer, they react and create a gap.
Yep.
Now, part of the ozone layer is supposed to retain or to allow the long radiation back. Okay. When we get the energy from the earth, from the sun to the earth, that is called short wave. So when it reflects back, it's called a long wave. So when the energy comes, I remember sometimes you used to warm water outside. So that is absorbed energy. But it can only have absorption, the absorption can take place up to a given point. So any excess energy is reflected back. So energy from the sun includes heat, light, and some other radiations. So when it is reflected back, the work of ozone was to make sure that this reflected heat goes back to the space. Now, with the depletion of ozone, it forms a blanket. Okay, the new product that is formed from the reaction does not allow this heat to go back to the space. So what happens? It bounces back. But remember, the sun is still releasing more heat. So with time, the globe, which is the earth, starts warming. And that is what is called global warming. Okay, with global warming taking place, it will mean that, remember, heat, wind is a mass of moving gases. So with heat, gases expand. So wind, the air starts moving. So you'll get that the other processes of the earth change the way they work. Hence, the rain that used to rain in Kajiado will not rain there, but will be taken to Namanga. Okay? Because of some other pressures that is facilitated by the greenhouse gases. So that is the simplest way that I think I can explain. And most people just know of greenhouse gases, but they don't know the greenhouse. So the small things we do make the very big difference. Some people have really gone extreme to make sure that CFCs or greenhouse gases are controlled. But also we need to be more careful because some of these products, we still need them. We just have to be sensible to the future generation because of sustainability. So climate change is the change in weather or in the atmospheric condition over a long period of time ranging to 30 years. So for example, I'm more than 30 years. So I can say that I've experienced climate change. But through education, people we can also learn more about climate change. So what people normally see is climate variation. It is shorter. And then we have change of seasons and change of weather. So it starts with weather, then goes to seasons, then climate variation, then climate change.
Oh, that makes a whole lot of sense. And I hope everybody who is watching is like, I'm with you, Stella. I thought I know. I thought I knew.
You still know, yeah?
You still know. It's incredible because these are some of the things that would make you sleep in class at 2 p.m. when the agriculture or geography teacher comes in. But rehearing it is just tiring. All this, wait a minute, it's actually been spoken about for a very long amount of time. But the reality is, we are here and we're like, hey, it's January, why is it raining? And I can tell you, I think I noticed that in the year 2016 because there's a thing that a shift in my life and I'm like, oh yeah, it's raining in January. It makes sense on what's happening. And then to realize that, especially like our continent, how blessed we are. In terms of maybe we are not the biggest producers of the greenhouse gas, but we're still affected. And then you go to a nation like Dubai, who have to send things into the sky for them to experience rain once a year. It's so flipped
Yeah.
up and down.
Yeah.
Wow, Stella. So before we come to you,
Yes.
we are going to take a short break.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about now, even from your perspective, what you've learned.
Yes.
And we can also touch on where does it begin?
Yes.
Who needs to hear? Why isn't this? I'm already thinking, why are these stickers not in matatus? Why are these stickers not literally everywhere? And you can see some people have been very responsible. They even separate waste and say this is for plastics,
Yes.
glass and all that.
Yes.
It's incredible. And maybe the policies that are there for you and where we are heading.
Okay.
Great. Wow, this has been so nice. My producer is telling me we're taking a break. I'm like, we've barely talked. We barely talked.
Yes.
So viewers, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.